welcome back to the channel and welcome to another in my series of videos about how to pass an advanced driving test. And in this video we're going to look at commentary or spoken thought. If you're a member of the IAM Road Smart, the terminology they use is spoken thought, but it's exactly the same thing, so I'm going to refer to it as commentary in this video. So before I go any further, I have made a much more comprehensive video about commentary, made it a couple of years ago. Put the link in the description below, please have a look at that. There's a lot more detail about how to approach your commentary, about how to structure it, terminology to use, observation links, that kind of thing. So hopefully you'll find that video quite useful in developing your commentary. So if you're undertaking a course of instruction with one of the civilian advanced driving organisations, IAM or ROSPA in this country, in the UK, there is an expectation that you'll do some commentary during those tests. To be clear, for your standard IAM advanced driving test and for your ROSPA driving test, there is no expectation that you commentate from start to finish through the drive. You'll be expected to do between 5 or 10 minutes of commentary during the drive. And it's the same with the police as well. The police will not expect you, unless you're doing an instructor's course, the police will not expect you to commentate all the way through the drive. It is, after all, a driving test. It's not a commentary test. Now, a lot of people get tongue-tied and really struggle with commentary, find it very difficult to structure it, spend a lot of the time thinking about what to say, and as a result the driving suffers. So you need to think about commentary in a slightly different way. See it as an opportunity. But it's an opportunity to give the examiner an insight into what you're thinking. Now, we're not mind readers. We can hazard a good guess at what you're thinking, and we can hazard a good guess at the driving plans that you're making. But remember, the most important aspect of any advanced driving test, the one thing that the examiner is looking for above anything else, is the ability of the driver to make plans and make driving plans as they're driving along the road. Now, I can watch what you're doing, we can see what you're doing, and we can measure that against our own observations, and we can hazard a pretty good guess that you're making either good driving plans or poor driving plans. But commentary is your opportunity to share those driving plans with us as examiners. So first of all, see it as an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to show off to us a little bit and tell us what you're thinking. Now, I mentioned before that some people struggle with the bit that relates to what we're going to do. So I want you to tell me what's happening down the road, and I want you to tell me what you're going to do about it. So what I hear on tests quite regularly is the road in the distance is bending round to the right. And my ears prick up. Great, the road's bending round to the right. And then after that, what they'll say is, oh, the road's going through a bit of a cut-in here, and then it looks like the road's bending round to the left in the distance over the crest of the hill. Great, I can see that, and a mirror check shows that we've no following vehicles close to us. Okay, that's what we can see. And now I can see the road bending round to the left, and I can see there's some kind of industrial building up ahead. Right, and now I can see the road bending round to that, and at this point I am totally bored. Totally fed up with this commentary now, because all you're telling me is where the road's going. You're telling me what I can already see. Now, I want you to tell me what you can see, because it demonstrates to me where you're looking and where your observations are. But I also want you to tell me what you're going to do about it. For example, here the road bends slightly to the right, to the left, and then back round to the right. And it's the right-hander in the distance with the route board in view that I'm going to have to do something about. So on the approach to that right-hander, I'm going to position the car to the near side. That'll give me a better view around the corner. I'm going to assess my speed on approach using the limit point. I'm going to take an appropriate gear and then just balance the car on the accelerator through the corner. Looking up ahead, I can see countdown markers for a junction to the right, and I can see a vehicle coming towards that junction. So I'm going to position near side to give them a better view of me, and I'm ready to slow down if they pull out in front of me. In fact, they've come towards me, so that's not a problem. But I have got a slow moving van, and in the distance I can see some yellow backed signs which look to me like a change in speed limit, because off to the left is a village, and I'm associating that with a change in speed limit. So I am ready to slow the vehicle down on approach to those speed limits to make sure that we're matching it as we go between the signs. So you can see I'm telling you what I'm looking at, but I'm telling you what I'm going to do about it as well. Checking the mirrors, braking the vehicle down till we're at 40, coming off the brakes at 40 and taking a more appropriate gear, 4th gear, and then just holding the car at 40. Now, one thing I'm going to say to you is commentary, when you've not done it before, is not easy. It's hard. It's like anything else new that you've got to learn. It's hard. And it's hard because you're having to coordinate your speech with your driving, with what you're doing. But you can make it easier for yourself. Think of it like this. A lot of people spend ages struggling with commentary because they're trying to think, what should I say? What should I be saying at the moment? And while they're thinking about what they should say, the driving suffers and the speed drops down, and actually they end up sort of fluffing things as they're driving. So reverse that. One way to think about it is this: you already know what you're thinking. I know what I'm thinking up here. I can see they're all bending round to the right in the distance. We've got that pickup truck going away from us. I know I'm in a 30 limit. I'm checking the speed limit. There's a junction off to the left, and I'm going to bear in mind that vehicles might come out of that. And that's going round in my head all the time. Maybe I'm a bit sad that that's going round in my head, but that's what I'm doing when I'm driving. I'm thinking about these things all the time. So instead of thinking about what to say, just try and verbalise what's in your head. There's a parked car up ahead on the near side, sorry, a parked van. I'm checking the mirrors, I'm moving my position out early, system remember, my speed and gear are okay, and I'm just rolling past these parked vehicles. I was doing that anyway, so try and verbalise what's already going through your mind and what you're already thinking and what you're going to do. Another way to think about it is imagine that you are your own instructor. Imagine you are instructing yourself down the road. You're telling yourself what to do. Up ahead, I can see the road bending slightly to the right. Working my way back from there, I can see Belisha beacons. So there's a zebra crossing. I'm checking my mirrors, moving away from the lorry on the near side to give myself a better view down the road, and I'm checking to see if anybody's waiting or approaching that crossing. And we've got parked cars either side. So I've got a vehicle emerging on the near side there. So what I'm doing is moving away from that junction. It's not that one that's the problem, it's the next one. But I'm also anticipating that vehicle in front might turn off. So I'm ready to ease off the gas and slow down and maybe even brake if they decide to turn right further up the road. Looking up in the distance, I can see the road going up over a bridge, checking out this pedestrian, making sure they're looking at us. And what it sounds like is I am instructing myself down the road on the approach to these parked vehicles. Now what I'm going to do is check the mirrors, move out nice and early, move my position out early, giving a door's width just in case one of the doors opens on one of these parked vehicles, checking the mirrors again, and once we're past them, back to the near side. I'm instructing myself down the road. So if you're struggling with commentary, try that tactic of telling yourself what to do, because if you say it, you'll do it. Now at some point during the drive, your examiner will say to you, I'd like to start commentating for me now, please. And here's how you start the commentary. The first words out of your mouth should be, in the distance I can see, or something to that effect. In the distance I can see the road bending round to the right. We've got a change in speed limit to a national speed limit, and we've got double white lines in the centre of the road. The white car in front has just turned off, as we anticipated earlier. The double white lines mean that I'm not allowed to cross, straddle or park alongside them. In the distance the road is bending round to the left, so I am positioning to the offside towards the centre line to get a better view around that corner. A mirror check reveals no following traffic. Now you don't need to mention all your mirror checks, you don't need to talk about your mirror checks too much. Just occasionally, if there's something happening behind, if we're about to be overtaken, if something's occurring behind that you want to draw your examiner's attention to, do that. But occasionally, just occasionally, you can throw in, if there's nothing else going on, a mirror check, and there's nothing happening behind, there's no following traffic. Now back in the Middle Ages, when I did my original police advanced driving course, there was an expectation that you learned loads of definitions out of roadcraft and out of highway code, and you threw those definitions into your commentary. You don't need to do that anymore, it just needs to be a bit more relevant. But one of the things that can really help you with your commentary, you know, we're on this road now, there isn't a lot happening. I've got an industrial sort of complex off to the left there, a quarry. I've got a warning sign here for lorries turning and for a flood. Not a massive amount to talk about, some slow moving vehicles up ahead. So at that point where you might start struggling, that's the point at which to start mentioning road signs, and the earlier you can mention them, the better. So the furthest road sign I can see is actually the back of a triangle warning sign. Then I've got the lay-by sign in 1/4 of a mile, so I can expect possibly the vehicle in front to pull into that, or possibly vehicles to pull out. Look at what I'm doing. I'm not just reading out the sign. There's the sign for the lay-by, but I'm making a link with it. The next road sign I can see is a bend to the left, so I can now see the bend to the left. So I'm going to take a position towards the centre line to give me a better view, check the mirrors. I'm going to move away from that centre line position now, so I'm away from that lorry, because we prioritise safety over anything else for positioning, and I'm going to keep looking through the bend. Up ahead I can see two road signs. I can see a finger post sign, which is always opposite a junction, and it's just a direction sign, and I can also see a triangle warning sign. Can't see what it is yet, but we'll have a look when we get a little bit closer. There's the finger post sign on the horizon, and a route board just before it, and the warning sign is for farm traffic. So picking out the road signs is a really good way to show your examiner that you're looking in the far distance. So you'd have picked that finger post sign out then, that would have been fantastic. That shows to me you can't really be looking any further down the road. There's no further view than that. Observation links are a nice one. See one thing and link it to another, and road signs often give you a really good observation link. Here there's a sign warning us that there's a junction to the left in 280 yards. And double bends, first one to the right. And there is a view mirror on the offside, so I'm moving away from that junction because there might be vehicles emerging. So I've compromised my position for the right-hander by moving away from that junction. Again, I'm prioritising safety above everything else. A really good little line to throw into your commentary. So what about the style of commentary? Well, you know, there's quite a lot of things that are either correct or not correct in driving. There's quite a lot of things that are a big grey area in the middle, where I might do one thing one way, you might do something the other way, and you know, they might both be correct. With commentary, there's a really wide variation of different styles, and that's down to you and your own personality. And this is what I like about commentary, is you can inject your own personality into it. Make it a conversation, make it interesting. Do it in your own style, you know. Have a laugh about something if you want. You can make a joke out of something that'll amuse your examiner, that'll keep them on board. But up ahead here, no, look, chevron boards indicating a sharp deviation to the right. Finger post sign opposite the junction, scanning into the junction. Little bit of gas there just to keep the car balanced through the corner. And up ahead I can see a built-up area, and I'm expecting that to be linked with a change in speed limit, and there it is, changing speed limit down to a 40. So I'm checking the mirrors, and I'm using the brakes to get the car down to 40 just in time for the signs. Then I'll come off the brakes, and then maintain that 40 mile an hour through the built-up area. So it's a conversation. I'm telling you what I'm doing it in my own style. I'm not going to tell you what style of commentary to do. Try not to be too formal and stiff about it. Try not to sound like a machine gun. There's a video somewhere online of a Met Police instructor doing a blue light commentary, and it's a really good, you know, it's a really good video, and he's driving is absolutely spot on, but his commentary is just, he mentions every single mirror check every time he does it. It sounds like a machine gun. I'm looking up in the distance, there's vehicles emerging at the roundabout, checking the mirrors. I'm moving out for a position, changing the sirens, checking the mirrors, and every third sentence he's saying is I'm checking the mirrors. He's not giving himself time to breathe. I'm amazed he didn't go blue during that commentary. We're not looking for that really rapid fire commentary. We're looking for a slightly more relaxed style, and a demonstration that A, you're looking in the right place, and B, you know what you're going to do and you're making driving plans. That's your opportunity during commentary. That's what we're looking for you to do. Now, when you get into the built-up areas, I'm not going to drive through any built-up areas today, but when you get into the built-up areas which I call, you know, hazard rich, there's lots of other things going on. Sometimes there is so much going on that you can't talk about it all. You can't talk about everything that's happening because there's too much happening. So the best tip there is to pick the primary hazards. So I'm separating hazards into primary and secondary. Primary are the hazards that you're going to have to do something about. There is somebody waiting at a zebra crossing, therefore I'm checking the mirrors and I'm braking the car down and I'm slowing down to allow them to cross at the crossing. At the same time, there might be other things going on. I'm looking at the person with a dog. Is the dog on a lead? Is it under control? I'm looking at the children. Are they going to step into the road? But if there's something happening that you're going to have to do something about, talk about that. Because it's no good talking about the dog on the lead when somebody's stepping out in front of you on a crossing and you're braking. Couple of other tips about commentary, and this is quite important. Number one, don't lie to me. And people lie in the commentary, and they don't do it deliberately. I don't mean they're trying to deceive me in any way, but what they'll say is, yes, I'm just using acceleration sense just to lose a bit of speed for this corner. I'll look down and they'll be braking, and they'll be braking quite hard. So if you're braking, just tell me you're braking. There's nothing wrong with braking, it's fine. But don't tell me you're doing one thing if you're doing something else. And another thing is, I want to know what's going to happen. I don't really want to hear a commentary about everything that has already happened. And it's very easy to fall into this trap because you make your sentences too long and you're not concise enough in what you're saying. So for example, some people will go, well, up ahead I can see there's a 30-mile-an-hour sign. I'm checking the mirrors and I'm braking the car down to get it down to the 30-mile-an-hour sign. And yeah, it's a 30, but they might still be talking about that here. It's a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, and I've just got the speed down to 30, and then I'm going to change down to 4th gear to maintain 30 mile an hour through the speed limit. Well, I've already done that, so don't talk about what's happened. Think of it as a bit of a prediction thing. It's a future commentary, it's not a past commentary. I'm not talking about what's happened, we're talking about what's going to happen, and that's predominantly down there, although there is some relevance to what's happening behind. But I mostly want to know what's happening down there, and I want you to tell me what your plans are. A nice little tip, if you can do this, and this is one that you need to practice, is to insert the 5 features of the system of car control once or twice during your commentary. And that doesn't have to be complicated. Coming up is a humpback bridge. That's a hazard. I'm checking the mirrors for information. Position, I'm going to keep in the position that I'm in, which is fine for the moment. Speed is okay on the approach. I can stop in the distance I can see. The gear is okay, and I don't need any additional acceleration to take me over the humpback bridge. So in essence, I've actually done nothing, but I have applied, or I've considered all the phases of the system of car control as we've approached that humpback bridge. For this bend to the right now, checking the mirrors for information, positions to the near side, speed and gear are okay, and I don't need any acceleration to maintain speed because we're on a downhill run. Again, all I've done is just move my position a little bit and told you what I'm doing. But I've mentioned the 5 phases of the system in the right order. Examiners love that. Now, I'm not going to go into a great deal more detail about the commentary itself, because I think the other video that I've linked to down below will give you everything that you need. There's loads and loads of information about there about how to structure your commentary and all the rest of it. But I want to finish this video off by telling you what's required in the different types of advanced driving tests that you might be undertaking. So let's start with IAM and ROSPA, by which I mean your sort of normal, standard, non-masters IAM and ROSPA test. And this is where you might be quite surprised about what I'm going to tell you, because if on an IAM test or a ROSPA test, if I ask you to start commentating and for the next 10 minutes I hear not one word pass through your lips, if you remain silent and brush weeds are blowing across and all the rest of it, on an IAM test I am going to mark you a 2, and a 2 is a pass. So you will never fail for commentary on an IAM test. Absolutely should, because remember, it's a driving test. It's not a commentary test. But what I want you to remember is the flip side of that is, if your drive is mediocre, and if I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I can't, it's really not, you know, some of the stuff's there, some of it isn't, it's a bit mediocre. If you give me a really good commentary, that will lift the drive. So I will give you a 1 for commentary if it's really good and you're getting towards a first with that. And if you're aiming for a first, or if you're aiming for a gold at ROSPA, well, your commentary needs to be a bit better. It needs to be relevant, it needs to be showing me good observations, and it needs to be demonstrating really good driving plans. But for IAM Masters, which is a higher level civilian advanced driving test, it's the highest level you can achieve in this country. For IAM Masters, we're looking for a much better clipped, precise, concise commentary that's relevant, that doesn't wander off, and that doesn't affect your driving. So be careful with this. We don't want it affecting your driving. Now, police standard course, very similar to IAM. There's an expectation that you do a bit of commentary And for your advanced course, it's really important that you are able to commentate very well. You can fail your police advanced course if you don't get your commentary right. So why is that? Why is there the difference between the civilian advanced driving courses and the police? Well, this is where there is a significant difference between operational police driving and civilian advanced driving. Operationally in the police, it's very important at times that you can give a commentary. So as an advanced police driver in a high performance police car, you may well at some point get involved in a pursuit. And let's be honest, keep it a secret between us, that's why you've gone into that job, because you want to get involved in pursuits. Don't worry, I won't tell anybody else, but I know the secret. But a commentary is so important during a pursuit, especially during the initial phases of a pursuit, when it's being monitored by a senior officer at the control room and they're looking to make a decision as to whether this commentary is safe to continue. So your commentary also acts as a dynamic risk assessment. You are constantly assessing the risks involved in that pursuit, and you're giving as much information. Remember, the staff at the control room can't see what you're seeing, not until that helicopter gets above you, and that can be a long time. They cannot see what you can see. So you need to give a really good, concise, clipped commentary that includes things like the road condition, the weather conditions, the speed limits that we're driving at, the manner of driving of the subject vehicle. That's really important because they want to make a risk assessment based on all the information that's available to them, and that's going to come from you during your commentary. And you might be single crewed, they might be relying just on you to not only do the driving but to give the commentary at the same time. So at the end of your advanced car course, when you are doing your tests and you're giving your commentary, there is a real expectation that you get that right. So for police advanced level, work with your instructors. If you're struggling with your commentary, just practice, practice, practice. Get out in your own car at weekends in between. I know you're driving all week on those courses and it's tiring, but if you're struggling with commentary, get out there and talk to yourself. Nobody looks at you funny anymore. When I was doing my advanced car course, there was really many hands-free sets in cars at the time, so you didn't see people talking to themselves. These days, nobody thinks anything of it. Get out there and talk to yourself. Practice, practice, practice. But remember, if you're doing a police advanced car course, don't dismiss commentary as, oh, why the heck are we going to do this? It's massively relevant to you going into your operational job, being able to give a good, concise commentary and being able to allow everybody else to make that dynamic risk assessment. Remember, when you're involved in a pursuit, you get a bit emotionally involved in it, your adrenaline's up, there is a chance you're not quite making risk assessments properly yourself, so you need other people to help you to do that and assess whether that pursuit remains safe to continue. If an inspector at the control room, if the first thing they're hearing in a pursuit is, I'm behind a vehicle and it's failing to stop, well, they're immediately going to think that, well, this driver, this police officer is really quite, their emotions are right up there with, is this safe to continue? It doesn't feel like it. Whereas if you can get on the radio and go, I'm behind a vehicle at the moment, it's a Ford Fiesta, it's failing to stop for me. The road conditions are damp, but it's not freezing. The speed limit is 40 miles an hour, the speed of the vehicle is 60 miles an hour, but it feels safe to continue at the moment. Looking ahead, traffic conditions are light, nothing's going on around me that concerns me at the moment, and I'll keep you informed, and I'm giving a description of where it's going, heading towards Pooley Bridge, going west towards Pooley Bridge. Speed's now 50 miles an hour, the speed limit is 40 miles an hour, it's safe to continue. Your control room inspector then is going to think, well, okay, that officer sounds well in control, it sounds like they know exactly what they're doing, I'm happy that this pursuit is safe to continue. So remember that, when you're doing your advanced car course, very safe environment, in the car, with the other students, with the instructor, but there is a huge relevance to that, a huge relevance to the commentary. It's really, really important aspect of that driving course, so please, you're going to have to work on that, and if you struggle with it, there is a chance you could fail that course. For the police, it's a vital part of your test. But going back to IM and ROSPA, if you're doing your first IM or ROSPA test, you know, it's really nice if you can give us a good commentary. If you struggle, don't worry about it, but don't let it affect your driving. It's the driving that we're testing you on. It's your ability to drive the car correctly to the system, making good driving plans that we're looking for. The commentary can really add to that, but don't worry too much if you're struggling. So that's it for this video, commentary. Please have a look at the other video. Quite often I link videos, and if they're there, you can have a look at them. It's really important if you want to learn how to commentate properly, how to use spoken thought appropriately. Have a look at the other video. There's loads more information there about it, and hopefully you'll find that really useful. But again, hopefully you found this video useful as well. I'll put it in the playlist, so it's alongside all the other videos about how to pass an advanced driving test. And don't forget the usual stuff. I'm going to sound like a stuck record now, but give us a subscribe if you haven't already. Thumbs up on the video, you know the score. If you want more information about advanced and performance driving and riding, go and have a look at the website, reglocal.com. Loads more information there. Information about the books that I've written, how you can get hold of a copy of those coming up to Christmas, if you want a Christmas present for somebody. And how you can get a day's driver or rider coaching with me if you fancy that. But for now, thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time.